Okay, so in this video, what I want to show you is how to do a basic search from inside of PitchDB. As you can see over here on the left, I'm in the admin account, so we have businesses and people. These are tabs that probably don't appear in your account unless you have one of our beta accounts. But the basic account will come with podcast, event planners, media outlets, and conferences. So this is how you do basic searches. You can come over to the podcast keyword and you can search for anything. If I wanted to search for a podcast that I've appeared on, I put my name in there and I can just search for it, and it shows you the 5 podcasts that I recently did. Now, the cool thing about it is that I can click on the name of the podcast and it'll show me every single podcast done by this particular person. In this case, this is Morgan Williams, who does a podcast that's focused on cold outreach via email. Now, underneath that, I can click on play, and that'll give me, it'll allow me to play the podcast. So as you can hear today,
two companies,
right?
Software and a service on the back of cold email.
Right. So that's the intro to the podcast that I was on with Morgan, as you heard there. But I can decide if I want to reach out to him. All I do is click on here and I add him to my contact list. And what you're seeing here is a list of tags. So in order to add them to a list, you have to decide what you want to tag them. So when you first start off, your first list will just say default. All you have to do to create another tag is to create a tag here, type in the name, so I'll show you as a demo list, and then click the check button to confirm that that's what you want to call the tag. Now, if I add that Morgan podcast to the demo list, all I do is click on it in blue and click the next button, right? The add button. So what you'll learn about PitchDB is you'll notice this. Everything that you're supposed to do next is always in dark blue. So if you come on the page at the beginning, you'll see that the dark blue button is search. So whatever you type in here, it's going to be dark blue. And when you search, it's going to bring up all the podcasts that talk about Google. But watch what happens whenever I highlight one. You notice the next step turns blue to let us know that's what we need to be doing next. So look for these blue signals that will tell you the next step of what to do whenever you're doing search or using PitchDB. So, but that's how the podcast search podcast tabs work. You basically can search for podcasts by name, or you can search for episodes. It's kind of like podcast is searching for channels, episodes is searching for topics. So if you wanted to look for podcasts that were about tap dancing, right? Let's see. So I see that there's only 4 podcasts that are about tap dancing, right? But how many episodes out of all the podcasts that are out there have ever covered the topic of tap dancing at some point? The entire podcast may not be on tap dancing, but they've covered that topic. So let's see. When I click search, you can see that 4 total podcasts now goes up to 1,087 podcasts that have covered tap dancing at some point, right? So that shows you the difference between a channel that's focused on tap dancing and shows that have covered the topic of tap dancing. You can look for publish after dates. You can single down the genres. You can search by language. You can say you want to see podcasts that have talked about this before a particular day. But that's how this works in the podcast tab. The event planners tab works exactly the same way. You search, you add them to a list, and then they show up in your contacts. Same thing happens for the media outlets and for the conferences. As you can see, there are different tabs for different topics. So you can click on those different tabs and look up different topics in each of those categories. If you run into any problems, be sure to let us know. We're always here to help you.